Hey guys, Moms Against Medical Bullying. So I wanted to make a quick video about this news piece that was on Inside Edition. Now, I think Inside Edition is I think they could be a bit sensationalism, right? Maybe all those news outlets are sensationalism. But they claim that this young man visiting a college campus, his friend's dorm room or what have you, um, became ill, deathly ill, with meningococcal sepsis, blood poisoning, after consuming the Chinese takeout that was in his fridge. And I thought, wow, this seems really extreme. I mean, honestly, when I see stuff like that, the first thing I think about is, when did he get the shot? Because blood poisoning, I mean, and I'm like, unless he has, like leaky gut, the food is, I don't know. I'm like, what do you guys think? I'm going to put a link to the video in this video and let you guys see.
A young man is covered in a grotesque rash. The flesh on his hands and feet is turning black. Necrosis has set in. What caused this terrible infection? Would you believe leftover chicken lo mein? It happened when a 19-year-old student was visiting a friend at his dorm room in Boston. He went to the refrigerator and helped himself to some leftover Chinese food from the night before. Within minutes, he became seriously ill. A reenactment of the shocking case has gone viral on YouTube.
Immediately after eating the meal of leftover chicken and noodles, JC didn't feel well. He could feel his stomach shake and convulse.
The student was rushed to the ER. His kidneys shut down. His heart and lungs failed. The diagnosis? Meningococcal septicemia, a deadly bacterial infection. Most of his fingers and his legs below the knees had to be amputated to save his life.
People don't realize sometimes how dangerous food can be.
Peter DeLucia, Assistant Commissioner of Health in Westchester County, New York, says leftover food should be refrigerated as soon as possible.
2 hours is what we always talk about, the 2-hour rule. You don't want to leave food out at room temperature for more than 2 hours with either disposing it, reheating it, or putting it into the refrigerator.
How long are left?
Now, they didn't say the food was left out.
Over safe in the fridge?
Usually 2 to 4 days is kind of the rule of thumb.
In a recent test, we found that by day 3, the bacteria in egg salad had increased by 4,000%.
Use your senses too. When you take that leftover out to eat it, if it's something that you don't have to reheat, smell it, look at it. If it smells a little funky, if it doesn't look right, when in doubt, throw it out.
Okay, so they said don't. So then they go on talking about other things like potato salad. This wasn't potato salad. That food shouldn't be left out. They don't mention that this food was left out. Where's the evidence that this food was left out, the Chinese food? And then, 2 to 3 days in the fridge. Well, we don't know. Was this Chinese food left in the fridge for 2 to 3 days? Had it been there for 2 weeks? We don't know anything about this guy, about his situation, but we definitely know it was the Chinese food he was eating. Now, I'm a proponent for watching how you feel after you eat certain foods, right? To see if you have reactions and stuff like that. But this just seems really far out to me, because we have no information. We have no information about this kid, about his medical history. We don't know if earlier that day he went to go get some type of that. I mean, college campus, they require all that stuff. We don't know what else happened to this person. And also, we don't know what condition he was in when he was eating that food. Was he already ill? Had he been ill for a week? And you know what I mean? We just don't have information about his Chinese food, how long it was there. Did they go to Chinese food and find the agent? I'm going to call it the agent, the accusative agent. Did they find that thing on the Chinese food? I mean, wow. I feel like we went from here all the way over there, like, you know. And now every person's grandmother who watches that video, watch, you're going to be getting phone calls. If your grandma has access to news and Android phones with YouTube, they'd be like, watch out for the food you eat. I just saw somebody got septicemia from eating Chinese food. Don't go to the Chinese anymore. I know my grandmother would. Wouldn't yours? Don't go to the Chinese. You know, they'd be deathly scared. Now everybody around the world is going to be throwing out their food. They're going to be like, oh, I'm not eating leftovers anymore. Nope. If you guys don't eat the food tonight, we're done. Like, people in the comments are like, this is why I put my food right in the fridge right after I make it. Well, what if that Chinese food was also put in the fridge right after it was eaten? We don't know. This is like a huge, it's kind of like a huge assumption. I don't know. I mean, like, eating Chinese food and then, like, vomiting, you know, like, okay, I can understand that. I mean, maybe I'm wrong here. Like, maybe this has happened to a lot of people and I'm not aware of it. But yeah, like, I can understand, like, vomiting your head off because your body's trying to expel that food because it was already poison, non-edible, or you get severe diarrhea. But yeah, I've never heard of this before. If you have an experience with this, you want to share down below, go ahead. I'd love to hear what you have to say.